All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us again for the Summer One-Shot series. My name is Jeff Romo with InnRoads Ministries, and I am joined by a select few wonderful people, and I'm really excited. We're going to be playing Stars Without Number. It is a marriage, a sweet, sweet marriage of the OSR, or the Old School Renaissance, so some old school gameplay with some new school skills and other types of things that were added into the mix to make a very sandboxy type of game. Normally, you wouldn't see Stars Without Number as a one-shot, but I've got some superior individuals right here. They're going to make it worth your while. So, that being said, I'm going to start introducing some of these wonderful folks, and I'm going to start with Justin. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and the kind of character you're playing?
My character is... He was raised on a planet that was destroyed by, I believe it was called the Scream, where tech basically stopped working. Just imagine no Wi-Fi all day, but worse. And
it's a nightmare.
And they slowly rebuilt. And what he learned to do was play the electronic harpsichord as a comedic musician. I think Victor Borga, but not old. And so now he travels around and plays at different planets or space stations and tries to get people to help his planet however they can.
Nice. And how about something about you, Justin? What's something that you like to do in your spare time besides maybe, well, including gaming?
I made this. It's a beverage. I just increased this to like a teen rating by having some beverage here.
Right.
It's a...
Hang on, let me go get some cigarettes.
It's a lavender ale. It's a clone of the Rogue Dead guy, and it's a tribute to the game Grim Fandango, which you should go play. They recently released it.
Nice.
And sneezing to my left is my wonderful, lovely wife.
Hello, sneezing wife. All right, Zach, on to you, my friend.
Hello, my name is Zach Lorton. I live in the St. Louis area. This is my first time playing a statistics-based role-playing game, so I'm very excited. I only got into the gaming hobby about 2 years ago, and since then I've designed a couple of play sets for Fiasco. I've designed a role-playing game, and I'm in the middle of designing my first tabletop board game. So, but I've never played D&D, never played this, so this is going to be a new experience for me.
Yeah, you're gonna double dip next September. This September you're gonna be joining in D&D. So
right, yes, that'll be my first D&D experience.
Two first, baby. I'm glad to be there for your first time on both situations. That's pretty awesome.
That's awesome. Just make sure you play the soft music.
Yeah, I can do that. We're in Roll20. I can do that. So, awesome. What kind of character are you playing?
I am Zoldak Miro. I am mercenary. I'm trying to be Russian without sounding Scottish. Okay,
it's a fine line.
I was left as orphan, and parents died. I was raised to know the art of the mercenary, running guns for cash, for money. I do not hold loyalties to any nation, any world. I live mostly for myself. I prefer the old school weaponry, swords, pistols, projectiles, things of this nature. And I am the ship's gunnery. Pardon me. I am ship's gunnery.
Okay, no.
If I'm going to be Russian, I must be proper with articles and not say them.
Do you ever go to the galley and make everyone a sandwich?
I make borscht.
You wish to put on bread? Go ahead.
Space chili.
Sitting in a vessel. A nuclear vessel.
That's right. Anything that you guys have around you that you're using, just add space to the front, and that makes it Stars Without Number worthy. So, no worries. All right. Thank you, Zach. Chris, next one over. Talk to me, brother.
Hello, I'm Chris Lawrence. I'm from Cookeville, Tennessee. It's actually known specifically for being in between Knoxville and Nashville. So that's where I live. So so a little bit about me. I don't know. I like to play board games a lot, and that kind of got me, kind of started with watching probably about a year ago some RPGs, especially specifically some on the tabletop show, and just kind of I didn't really have anybody. I've always kind of wanted to play them, so about a year ago, I kind of got a hold of End of the World and kind of started GM that first without playing a game before. So, but other than games, I like to, brew beer, smoke, not cigarettes. That's not good. I like to smoke barbecue.
And we both have chickens.
So too, pretty thing. So as far as my cam, I'm Mentios. I'm a third generation doctor that joined the military basically to travel and push my limits as a combat medic. So I'm a little bit more. So being third generation doctor, there's not really a whole lot that I hadn't seen before and really needs. So kind of getting on this group allows me to kind of push myself. Being in the military previously allows me to be basically on the edge with these guys and kind of be their medic and stuff, because we're out on the edge and we're not anywhere close to any type of facility to where we can apply medicine and stuff like that. So.
Awesome, man. And they're going to be very thankful that you're on board, that's for sure. All right, cool. So TR, man, you are up. Talk to me.
I'm the father of twin daughters, which is kind of a fun claim to fame. I'm also caregiver for my wife, who has so life keeps me busy. Let's see, what else about me? Long-term gamer. I'm an old school gamer. Been gaming for over 30 years, so I am used to stat-based RPGs. Cut my teeth on villains and vigilantes and first ed D&D. So this feels very home to me in the stats. I'm a freelancer in the game industry. Other than my day job is an IT director at a college, but I also do freelance work. I do proofreading and editing for RPGs and board games, which is exciting. I enjoy that. See, my character is named Roy, the Professor Sloan. He is a debunked professor, was basically chased off his planet for his views of some history and is trying to re-find himself, booked himself on a ship to get away as fast as he could, became an apprentice engineer because of his understanding of old tech, and now has this rust bucket of a ship running and flying in space and just trying to stay alive. Because there's some people who just don't like his opinions. And that's who I am.
Awesome stuff, man. So there you are. There is the wonderful crew of the Razorback, which is this vessel here. And there you go. It's all moving around all by itself. Isn't that crazy? That's weird, isn't it? But thanks a lot, guys. We're going to go ahead and jump into the gameplay. We're going to be able to show you some highlights of the experience. And then at the very end, we're going to talk a little bit about what we liked about the game, what we didn't like, what they didn't like about me, what everything goes. Everything.
How much time do you have there, Jeff?
I mean, they're already talking about smoking borscht here, so, I mean, come on. It's going to get crazy. So, thanks a lot, guys. We will be here in a second to see the highlights. So, I would assume then you're probably at the comms station right now, maybe assisting Zoldak and targeting, that sort of thing.
Yes.
Zoldak and Doctor are sharing bag of space jerky back and forth.
That's nice. All right.
No, thank you. I don't like jerky.
Oh.
You eat jerky.
No.
Just
It is popcorn in space.
Space gastric distress is not very good for this moment in time. If we have the gastric distress, then
just act like you're eating
not a good thing.
I will leave in your bunk.
Thank you. That'll be fine. What? Sure.
And the instructions that you've been given for this salvage job, if you had a chance to take a look at the handout, there's one that's called One Game Synopsis. And the mission here is basically a routine salvage job on the edges of Grimhild. And that's this particular sector that you're in, or system that you're in. And to find this is where we find the crew of the Razorback trying to outrun these pirates. So right now, your next set of instructions is a quick jump just to the edge of the system, right outside of it, on that edge, and that's where you're supposedly going to find Station 1172. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, you make a very successful maneuver here. So describe that again. So how does that look? You're skimming across the surface.
I'm going to skim the atmosphere, using the scoop to pull in some of the upper atmosphere, and I'm going to blow it out the engine as a particulate.
Nice. All right. So it just so happens that...
Hoping to throw off their targeting.
No, absolutely, and you definitely do. You actually you see in your display to the right, your digital rearview mirror, you see as this pirate vessel is starting to swing in behind you, but as you time it perfectly, just hitting that blowback, and then as we see them try and navigate away from it, they pull up and to the left and right into the crosshairs of Zoldak.
It's all yours, dude.
So William,
Professor, that was great move, Professor.
So you get and now you're hearing the motors of the lift as it's coming down.
Okay, so I kind of talk to them real quick, just kind of give some options. One option is that I can go and we can get into the into our ship, and then we can go ahead and open the airlock, and basically, it'll be our ship against, if they decide to come in here with any suits, we can shoot, and we can take the doctor and just get out of here. And we've got one jump left, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, because I've not finished the repair.
You can make it back to Erginus at this point.
Yep. I suggest you aim the sand cannon at the lift and get in here.
Okay, so I would take the doctor with us
and grab
as well,
the robot.
correct?
Grab the chassis of the robot.
The chassis. Now, that's not really salvageable. I mean, it's just basically a hunk of junk, isn't it?
It's got a power source. I want the power source. Grab the power source. Get on the ship.
I thought that's what happened to the, because he died out.
Doctor, get on ship. I will grab chassis. I have extra hand.
Sure, let's do that.
I'm running up to the cockpit.
Over, grabs the chassis.
I'm doing the Han Solo thing.
Keeps his submachine gun
I'll
drawn
start navigating when I get in.
Okay, so go ahead and give me a navigation roll.
Well, the problem is the doors are still shut, people.
Well, you've got an access code there.
I've got the card, so I'm going to go ahead and start, I guess, the access whenever you guys... Do I have time to basically activate that and then go get in the...
Sure, everything's unlocked.
Let's do that.
So you slam the button that opens the bay door, and you start feeling the air start to decompress out of the thing. It's starting to vent out, and you're struggling to get up onto the Razorback's ramp. And you grab that chassis. I think it was Zoldak. You have it, and you're getting onto that thing, and as you get on the ship, and it seals up, and you power up the engines. Give me a pilot check there, Sloan.
Yep, hold on.
Navigation check is 9. You're solid. Nice. All right. So you lift off. I mean, you are just jamming out there. And as you're clearing the hangar bay, you look over and you see the doors open on that large at the end of the hangar. And the last thing you see before you take off is is a robot that comes out. It's about the size of a child and looks like that.
Oh, Vasily.
Oh, come on.
And it starts running like that kind of like weird Terminator run as it's starting to run after you. And you see it fly off into the dead of space as you're like screaming away from the space station. And as the stars start to kind of stream past you, you hear the doctor like crying, like, "No, my son, you left my son." And the stars stream past you and you burst into light speed. And as you do so, Zoldak, you look down at the chassis and the eyes come on and it says, "Thank you, Zoldak. I now know your name is Power." And all of the screens in the ship start to blink and flicker and everything, and then that's when the scene comes to an end and the credits start to roll.
Oh, crap.
So yeah, and this is at this point, that's when David Bowie's song "The Man Who Sold the World" comes on and starts playing. And as we see,
told you to leave it.
off into light speed.
It's worth the risk.
So,
Dang.
nice work, everybody. I hope we've had some fun. I've had an incredible time with you guys because you're exceptional role players. But let's go around the horn real quick. It's super late, especially for our folks on the East Coast time. It's 1 o'clock, it's midnight somewhere, and it's 10 o'clock here. All of which is past my bedtime. So let's start with you, Justin. Ups and downs, good things, bad things about the system, or about the gameplay, things that could have been better, or things that you liked.
Well, I think if you're not built for combat, of course, rolling crap doesn't help. Overall, I think the system's fine. I think probably the only down is, and this can happen with any group who knows foreshadowing when they see it, is planning a whole lot instead of doing a whole lot.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, and that was one of the hesitancies I had with using the game as a one-shot. I was just so eager to play it. I hadn't played it in so long, and I wanted to do it as a one-shot and try it, but that's kind of where I had my hesitancy, because a lot of the development that comes with playing characters of different abilities comes from the longevity of the campaign and the sandboxy feel. So definitely feel you there. You got a high point? Something that you super liked?
Well, it was nice, even though I rolled a miss. Get the flare in there, and because it's kind of a bummer to. I basically was entirely ineffective in combat. But I mean, it was fun overall, definitely.
And your history came into play too, as far as like where you've been and being able to bring some of that knowledge to the table. So that definitely helped. And plus, navigation was fun too. That had its ups and downs too. All right, thanks, Zach. How about you? Ups and downs, man.
I was a little disappointed when I was originally rolling up my character and found out that I was going to get a 9 in intelligence. So I'm like, well, that's great. But I also knew he's kind of going to be one note. Mm-hmm. So one of the cool things about playing this particular game was, there was some planning involved and stuff like that. But I think once we got to the place where we were actually rolling for initiative, we knew stuff was going to go down. Yeah. And you could kind of see the pieces being put together throughout the entire planning stages of getting to where we needed to go and everything else like that. That when combat finally happened, it was well worth the wait to me. Honestly, I honestly thought that. I don't think there was nothing that was boring about this, because there was enough to keep it moving forward. And probably one of the cool things about this to me was the character interaction. Just the little things that we were able to pepper in, like when I said that Zoldak and the professor Zoldak and the doctor, Dr. Lavrentios, were passing back and forth a bag of jerky, and his response was, "I don't like jerky." I was like, "Well, this
on your bed."
This immediately brings in a motivation for Zoldak to try and to try and be the type of person that would bring people around to his way of thinking. It actually gave, even though I already had 16 in charisma or something like that.
Yeah. Pretty good.
No, 13 in charisma. It still gave me a little bit of a motivation to try and work within that framework. I enjoyed.
Also, like with your character's background, you built him in such a way that you were kind of looking for that camaraderie. Like while you weren't married to the vessel, maybe deep down inside, your character was looking for a reason to be married to the vessel and the crew.
Yeah.
So.
After being abandoned, for so many years and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's looking for a place to belong. The cool thing about doing this on Roll20 is the fact that, and this would be true, I guess, if you were using Hangouts too, but we've got the ability to have side role-playing going on in the chat window.
Yeah.
At the same time that stuff is happening over voice and video and audio. So I think having that available is a great format when you're role playing, because you try to, when you're at a table and you've got 2 or 3 people talking in a scene, when a couple other people try to role play on the side, it's almost distracting and it doesn't come off quite as well. So I really do like this format. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, the cool thing is the slash whisper, like when you're going between particular characters. I used that with William at least once, and I think I did that with Sloan as well. But yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cool, man. Oh, and I didn't get a chance to play your theme. I had like a whole theme thing all set up, too.
For what, the game or for Zoldak?
For Zoldak. I found a Space Marine theme song, and I was like, oh man, that's totally him. But anyway, okay. So, all right. Chris, what'd you think?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with bad first, or, kind of dislikes. I had kind of a hard time getting into my character and kind of figuring out exactly what I wanted him to be. So that was kind of, that was on my part. I should have, I got to talk to another guy today about kind of doing some exercises for like role playing as far as getting into the character. So not necessarily like, hey, I'm a 3rd generation doctor kind of a thing, but like do an exercise of say, hey, I'm in a room stuck with a really big guy that's guarding a door, and the only way out is, at that door. What is my character going to do? So, I think I could have better prepared for that, but that was kind of on me for that. But again, it's all a learning process. So that's one thing that I didn't really like as much, and I thought that I left a lot on the table, and didn't bring a whole lot to the table on that is concerned, because I really liked the interaction and stuff like right off the bat with Zoldak. So that was just kind of a kind of happenstance sort of a thing that just kind of happened there. And so me trying to figure out my character didn't really allow for us to, kind of click a little bit more. We sort of did, but not really. But
do you think
I guess
if there was like longevity to the game, like maybe a 3-story arc or something, you could have.
Yeah, and it was just my character, so I was trying to kind of stretch into that instead of just kind of being myself at least. That I would have had a little bit more motivation on kind of how to deal with him, and I think my character wouldn't really know how to deal with him in the first place anyway. But I don't know. So as far as like stuff that I really liked, I did like the actual character sheet, and you not really having to know, do any extra math really on getting the rolls done. So you just like, hey, go find the thing and then click on the dice button, and then it's gone. So that helped that get out of the way. So and let us focus on the story.
Yeah.
Again, we did a whole lot of rolls, but I don't think they ever really got in the way, but
that's kind of it's a bit of a risk with Stars Without Number. I mean, in a long story form, you can go 2 or 3 sessions and you hear the cliche all the time, where I barely rolled anything. And then there's some sessions where you roll a bunch, but it really depends. Like the more creative I've found players are within the system, the more I may have them roll, just because I want to honor that creativity and have the real world impact that creativity, like with Jace's decision to try and explode the gases that were coming out of the alien. I was like, I want to roll it and see how well it does, but I knew in my heart of hearts it was going to happen. You know, it wasn't because we were at the end of the session. I just knew in my heart of hearts I wanted it to happen because it was a fantastic idea. Just like the fuel scoop thing at the beginning that Sloan did.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. You all had some fantastic ideas of how to move forward. I loved it.
Even though it messed up our jump.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Okay. So anything else, Chris, that you want to throw in there? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there.
No, yeah. So again, the Roll20 worked really well for probably a very stats heavy type game. So so you don't have to juggle a lot of that. That kind of got out of the way. I've played 2 or 3 other games like Vampire the Requiem and then Don't Rest Your Head Don't Rest Your Head, and they were both were kind of a little weird, but anyway, this just kind of got out of the way. They got everything out of the way and let us kind of get into that. And maybe I kind of one thing that maybe I probably could have done a little bit different is probably let the story us get to the. I wanted to see what was more in the actual building itself. Like, I wanted to know that guy that was on the comm. I wanted to know those other doctors. Like, and I wanted to go see. My thing was I didn't really understand exactly. So there was the doctor that we took with us,
yeah,
and then there was the little robot thing, and I didn't really understand why the robots continually kept trying to attack us when he wanted to leave in the first place. That's what I didn't really understand too much. So,
well, I'll kind of open up a little bit more of that. Let's move on to TR. So, what did you think? Ups and downs in the system, and then I'll throw out some story stuff at the end.
I guess I'll kind of start on the bad side as well. I think my hardest thing for me was I'm really into the story and getting into the character and everything. And one-shots are always hard anyway to do that. And then gaming with, 3 other people and a GM I don't know. Yeah. It was trying to get into that rhythm. It's like, I kind of had my character idea, but I had no background of any of you, like how you act when you play. Then I didn't know what your character was. So, like, guys I've gamed with for years, I can know, no matter what they play, how they're going to play it. Like, I've got my friend who plays a paladin a certain way, a friend who plays boom mages. I got a friend who loves to play face and schmoozers. And I got a guy who always likes to be mercenaries and how he plays. And so I think what I struggled with in this was finding the rhythm of who you each were. To know how Jace was going to act, how Zoldak, how William. But then the same thing, how Justin, Zach, and Chris, you as people would react. And then you, Jeff, running, I didn't know. I mean, I've watched a couple of your videos, but I wasn't sure how much you lean to the creative side versus the mechanics. Because some people are very rule sticklers.
And it's so tough. It's so tough to balance that in a one-shot. Like, that opening scene with the spaceship, when you guys were launched right into battle, and I was getting a close-up of each of your faces. Like, how do you look when you're doing this? What are you going through when you're playing this? I could have stretched that scene out to like an hour and a half. Had the battle go like 2 or 3 more rounds and see what happened, how you guys developed, to kind of build into that. And then, unfortunately, with a one-shot, it's tough to do that without stretching it like 10 hours for a game. But
true.
You know what? And that's a learning experience for me, too, is that I could maybe spend some more time front-loading a little bit more work. Well, not work, but more camaraderie back and forth before the game starts to kind of build that history. Because I was trying to get each character to kind of build their background, but I should have got more sharing going on there, too. So that's a good suggestion for me.
For me, a 0 session would have worked well, if you've ever heard of those. The idea, if we could have gotten together for an hour or so one evening before we played, that would have helped. If I could have actually heard your voices, talked to you, if we could have talked about our characters a little bit, like, I think I'm going to play mine this way, rather than doing it on the fly.
Right.
I agree.
That's really my biggest issue there. Otherwise, I had fun. I mean, to me, it is about the story. Like Chris said, Roll20 took care of the mechanics. I mean, I understood Stars Without Number enough, having been an old school gamer, but it was nice to not even have to think about it. I just clicked a button, a number appeared. Great. I can focus on how I'm describing my actions.
Exactly.
Posting that. It's all about story to me. When I'm running, I'm an impromptu kind of GM. I barely make notes, and I just kind of go with the flow of my players. And when I'm a player, I'm that way. I want to embed myself into my character and get more and more into it. And it's hard in a one-shot to do that. But Roll20, I have to say, be my first time playing in it, it was nice that made the system disappear and we could focus on the story. That was my favorite thing tonight, was because I came into this kind of nervous of, what's it going to be like gaming with people I don't know? What's it like gaming online? But then I came away really getting into my character and the story and kind of joking with you guys on the side. And it quickly felt like we were sitting around a table and having a good time together.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, I didn't get any jerky, and that still has me upset. So next time before we do this, you have to mail me the jerky. So we can
you
do this.
hand over the jerky over camera, and they're like, "Oh, thanks. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome."
You don't want this jerky. I got it from the dollar store, and there's a reason it was at the dollar store.
So my thing
It
is,
will last for 300
the
years.
story was, that's what mattered to me, and it was good. And that was also my complaint was, I didn't have enough time to get into the story. So it was both my best and my worst was the story.
Yeah.
So thank you.
No, thank you guys. And you know what? Justin made a good comment that Dungeon World has a good way of creating those connections, those bonds between the characters kind of beforehand. And I think that was one of the big positive experiences I had out of that. The first one-shot, the first summer one-shot was kind of that pre-game stuff. You know, we couldn't do a session 0, but we kind of in a way did a session 0 because we had to create bonds amongst the characters. And I've tried to export that to other games. I've done that in Shadowrun. I've done that in Dungeons and Dragons. And then I've also done that in, what was another game I did that in? I can't remember. Anyway, so that may actually help with facilitating a good session 0, is doing that. I think that's a fantastic idea. My favorite thing was you guys. You guys were awesome. The way you reacted to the story, you went a couple different directions I wasn't expecting, so that's always the bonus. I did a lot of prep behind the scenes, creating factions, because that's one of the cool things about Stars Without Numbers, is being able to create factions and get their motivations out there, so that I know what their end goal is, but how they get there can change because of you guys. So for this one, I had 2 primary factions. One's were the pirates, and depending upon how long you guys spent on the station, they were going to show up. But I figured with a one-shot, it was a very long shot that they would, because I didn't want to impact that. And then with the excellent plan that you had at the beginning, that knocked them out of they couldn't get repaired fast enough to follow your navigational track. And in fact, the interesting thing, I rolled a percentage dice, and I rolled low enough on my percentages that they could track you because of the modifiers Jace created, or Justin created, when he rolled poorly on his navigation. Because it actually took them in an alternate direction to the station, so they weren't able to follow. So anyway, so that's there. The other faction, the primary one, was Dr. Peshkov. And basically he entered into a huge depression because he lost his family. They left him, and because of his studies, they couldn't stay with him because he was, just obsessed with doing this, studying AI and connecting to old pre-tech technology. And that whole faction, the Reformist movement, was trying to, again, reconnect with the core world using pre-tech tech. And so his thought was that the only way they could do that is by building an AI, or unbreaking an AI, as it were. And when he was about to start when he started his research, he was fully in depth. He didn't have his family with him, but then he got word that his family died. They died in a horrible land cruiser accident or whatever, or space vehicle crash. And the big thing was that he lost his son, Mark. And so as he was rebuilding the AI, the team of scientists that were with him, including this alien, were focused on creating the AI, but the scientists changed gears midstream and started rebuilding his son. And so he started injecting an AI with all of this personal information from his son, and that's where things went sideways. And so he imprisoned the rest of the scientists. The alien was the only one that wanted to work with him because he was fascinated with what the doctor was doing, and he was studying the humans anyway. And that's where that whole marriage of insanity went. And the doctor was basically looking for a way before the other doctors broke free, because he wasn't going to kill them, but he was imprisoning them. But before they could break free, he wanted to get his son onto the ship. Even if he didn't make it, he wanted to get his son onto the ship. And so when he was commanding the son to go back to the main body, he was thinking, well, the body will be able to come in and pilot the ship, and it'll be fine. But the son didn't go. he did try to transmit. He drew power from the other warbot that fell and was about to die, so he drew power from that, and then he maintained his presence within that robot body as you guys took him aboard. So it was either the little kid robot was going to come up, or this one was going to make it. One of the.
Which is interesting because I had a completely different view on the story.
Yeah,
because I thought it was the alien that was entrapping them all and caused the depression, and that's why I attacked the alien, because I was trying to save the humans.
Yeah, and the alien had been using his powers to submit the other scientists and keep them in prison. But they were so impassioned not to have it happen, he couldn't really maintain full control over them. Yeah, these guys are mystical and crazy, but they only have a certain limit, you know. You can't just keep.
But I completely misread that, which was interesting. I realized it at the end that I had misread it, but at the moment, just the opposite.
So hopefully it wasn't like a bait and switch for you guys. I didn't want it to feel that way.
No, not really. No.
Okay.
No,
one of the cool things about it. Yeah, one of the cool things about it is that you didn't give us all the information up front.
No.
Yeah.
You know, and so we based our actions off of what we thought was going to be happening. That's one of the reasons Zoldak targeted the war robots as a tactical move.
Absolutely.
Because he knew if they were going to turn hostile, that they would do a ton of damage.
Yep.
Well, the other alternative that they had was subdual. So before you had like gone after, actually it was William that went after the doctor, Dr. Peshkov. Before that, they were going to move into a position of subdual, and they were going to basically force you back onto the ship to take the sun out and have them free. So that's kind of the target there. But anyway, so wow, that was a lot of fun, you guys. Fantastic work, everybody. I had a lot of fun. Justin,
thank you, Jeff.
My pleasure. I'm glad to do it.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff.
So Justin will be hanging out later this month doing Dungeon World. We'll finish that up it turned into a duology.
Nice.
And Zach and TR will be getting together for Dungeons and Dragons, and then Chris, we're going to be getting together for more Invictus fun. So that's another channel where we do some recording and everything. So a lot of fun there. But I've had a fantastic time. These players are amazing, and I love the creativity they bring to the table. I kind of wish this could be a longer campaign, but you never know what the future holds. We'll see. So thanks a lot for being here, everybody. We appreciate your support. This is Jeff Romo with Justin, Zach, Chris, and TR, and saying thanks from InnRoads Ministries for joining the recording.